Greetings, I'm Ed Baker, and it's good to be with you for this leadership tutorial on the topic of listening to understand a key leadership attribute. So let's get started. First of all, you're aware, I'm sure, of some of the benefits of effective listening, such as building better relationships, enhancing trust, and enhancing mutual respect. These are all very central to the value of listening to understand. So, what are some of those effective listening elements? Here are three that you might want to consider. First of these is to listen for facts. What is it the person just said? Almost as if you're a tape recorder. Secondly, listening for feelings. What are your feelings when you hear that person say what they're saying? And finally, listen for values. What are the values of this person? Who are they? What kind of person are they? That's part of this whole issue of listening to understand. Three specific elements. There's some obstacles you should consider overcoming because it's always challenging to be an effective listener. First of all, understand your communication and conversational style. I'll talk about this some more on the next slide where we review this issue of telling versus asking. Secondly, maintain a posture of active inquiry. That way the person really knows that you're interested in what they have to say. And finally, deepen the level of listening by asking questions such as, what leads you to conclude that? And then you paraphrase what you heard them say. Here's the spectrum of this continuum of behaviors in terms of balancing, telling, and asking. The first on the left is the telling area, where you may be telling someone something, you may be solving a problem, you may be providing advice. That's often necessary at times. And then on the right-hand side, this is the asking side of the equation, where you're really trying to be a better listener. So be aware of where you are on this continuum of behaviors, trying to balance telling and asking. Here are some specific tactics that you should consider. The first of these is to be attentive. Lean forward, nod or smile. Clarify by asking a question such as, am I clear about what you're saying? And then often paraphrasing helps by using words or phrases that you've heard the person use. Then a good question when you reflect on what has been said, help me understand. And then again, you're paraphrasing what you believe you heard the individual say. And then finally, a good way to summarize at the end is to say, am I understanding you? And again, you once again attempt to paraphrase or summarize what you heard the individual say. So as you think about how to become a better listener, here are three quick questions that you might want to consider as you reflect on building your skill as a better listener. First, what is your conversational style on that continuum between asking and telling? Secondly, what are some of the obstacles you face and how might you overcome them? And finally, how might you practice to get better at listening? Here's a general summary of what I've been sharing with you today. First, again, there are three aspects of effective listening. One, listen for facts, what is being said. Second, listen for the feelings. What are you feeling when the person says what they're saying? Why are they saying this? What is their intent with the information that they're conveying? And finally, look at the values. Listen for values. Why is this person saying what they're saying? What is the essence of the individual? And how's that's coming through? Other aspect that you should consider first is balancing asking and telling, as I've said earlier. Be attentive, clarify, and summarize. Those are some of those tactics that I shared a moment ago. And finally, practice, practice, practice. We can all get better at being better listeners. So in order to practice, sometimes it's helpful to have an exercise, and here's one you can consider. Share this video with a friend and then ask that person an open-ended question, such as, in your work, what are you proudest of? Or a similar open-ended question where you're really trying to get at a better deepening level of listening. Thirdly, take notes on this interaction, listing what the facts of the person conveyed, what were the feelings that you experienced, and what were the values that you picked up. And finally, then share your notes and insights with that other person and have an exchange between yourself and the other individual. This is basically the essence of what I wanted to share with you today, but if you'd like to read more on this topic, there's a column that's in the Journal of Public Health Management and Practice on the JPHMP Direct site, and the link to that is at the bottom at the end of this video in the notes section. So I encourage you to take a look at that column and actually deepen your understanding and your practices of trying to be a better listener. So in summary, thank you for being with me for this leadership tutorial on the topic of listening to understand. I wish you well as you practice this key leadership skill.